Check it out. Theme music. It's kind of spooky, right? Some weird, like some weird dystopian, sci-fi shit was going down. Like some shit you'd only see in like, I don't know, like maybe you only read about like bad spy pulp novel, bad. So, I don't know. It just seems like just turn this stuff off for a second. Pretty spooky stuff. Yeah, basically the only reason I check in is because it's been really hard. Jeez, since I made a couple videos, I real forgetful, real detached from what's really going on. More preoccupied. I'm always preoccupied with what's happening, and um, I got to look at some microwave transmitters and things like this, and just inconclusive. I wouldn't jump to any conclusions about anything at this point, except to say whatever happened last month hurt me so bad that I've been really like forgetful and, like I said, preoccupied with things that I'm not resolved about. So that makes me forgetful, and I try not to give a fuck and be what's at hand, but I don't know. It just seems like things that begin to lose their value, actually. And what it is it those things that were once substantive and once possessing kinetic and material now seem less involved with what's happening. So, well, that could be hard to explain to someone. If I wanted to put it into context, they would understand. But certainly, that the material world that we deal with is not as substantive as most people think it is. That's one of the reasons that you get people that you can say, you can hold an apple up in front of them and say, "This is not an apple." And if you say it a few times and then ask them, "What isn't this?" What would they say? An apple. But what I would like to just once again say, yeah, basically all the same stuff. All right, street theater is pretty dumb. Electronic weapons fucking hurt. Um, what else? Uh, This is what I wanted to say this time. Is that the reason I do these videos is because I'm trying as best as I can to make it, to etch it into history that is absolutely what these people were doing, and that's exactly what was happening in Denver, Colorado at that time. Is that it was gang stalking, it was being targeted, it was surveillance, it was mafia and gangs. You know what I mean? You get those when you look. Where do you get gift cards to do shit like that? You fucking steal them, man. They steal them, and I know, cause like I've been faced to face with so much crazy shit leading up to this point, and I've definitely had the short-term memory loss before, and I'm pretty familiar with how that system works. and you have to spend almost all your time, all the time that you have focused on what you're doing, concentrated completely on what you're doing, because as soon as your mind starts to wander, it's going to get closer to finding, you're going to get closer to finding out that you're completely somewhere else than what's at hand. And it's happened before. Like say, I was in a detention facility one time, and that kind of programming is used pretty heavily in there. Um, but those kind of tones, those all the things that go into making people less less attached to the moment, less in the moment, less presence. More introversion, more contemplation, more thinking about things that have already happened or things in the future rather than what's at hand. There's a few different ways to go about doing that. And sometimes I realize when it's happening, but when it's coupled with it, you know, uh, frequency, when frequencies intervene, when they use different. One day I used to work for this guy who was a radio operator in Berlin in like 1968 or something, and he was a code break. Apparently, he worked the radio for a while in Berlin, midst of all that Cold War stuff, and he had a hole in the back of his head that he'd hear through with a hearing aid because he had damaged his ear somehow. It's pretty weird, but yeah, just like listening to things through a hole in your head. Well, I mean, and this technology is old. It's actually just like a horn and a flange. I mean, what we describe now as a flange is a horn, and radioactive filaments and things like this too. I mean, not like radioactive, like a receiver and a transistor. You use a transistor and a receiver circuit, and you can hear through a hole in his head. And this stuff is old. This voice to skull stuff is old as wine and hookers, but it's the it's there's too much um, high frequency interference too around here anyway for any serious beam. And like I say, I know that if that stuff's no joke, man. Try moving that stuff around. I know how that is. I know exactly how it is to create and move stuff like that. So um yeah, sucks to be targeted, sucks to be stalked. Still fucking cool though, I guess. I mean, I felt really bad when I found out it was happening to other people, but on the other hand, I don't know. I was pretty alone because, like I said, it had been happening to me for a long time since I was a minor. So, which is not really good. Here, exit music, those.